Now, imagine you are a mayor of a large Russian city for a few years. Let's say you work for 4 years, and then you retire. Oh, what do you do after retirement? Of course, you invest. And that was exactly what the former mayor of Vladivostok, a city of 500,000 people in the far east of Russia, did. He invested his money he saved while working as the mayor for 4 years. Oh, it makes perfect sense. But how much did he earn being the mayor? Enough to buy 821 pieces of real estate, mostly houses, apartments, and businesses with land. And after buying all of that, he ended up with 590 million rubles in cash in his hands. That's $135 million. Huh? How about that? I don't call this Russian news crazy for nothing, you know. Howdy, howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. Today, I give you crazy news update, straight out of the mad circus that Russia has unfortunately become. But first things first. First things first, there's no such absurdity that could not be realized in Russia these days. Please remember that. And the news, I call them crazy news from Russia. The news that matter and that you will not find in any mainstream media currently reporting from or about Russia. They are real crazy news. And let me start this crazy news update with positive news, with good news. I like starting every weekly update. I usually do it on Friday. Well, I moved it a little bit for Monday this time. But that's the news update for the week 30. And that, I think we deserve to have positive news first. I love them. Positive news, they kind of set the mood for the entire video. And I would like to start with the positive news. I would like to congratulate Russian people. Yes, a milestone in Russia's development was reached last Friday. Russian airline, National Airlines Aeroflot, performed the first regular direct flight to North Korea's capital, Pyongyang. Russian tourists are now welcomed in North Korea. Great achievement. Great news. It's positive. Now there's one more destination for Russians to go. And get that, visa-free. Oh yeah, it's really tough to get visas these days. Well, you can easily get, if you support the war, you can easily get visa to Europe. Europeans welcome war profiteers with arms wide open. If you live outside Russia and you stand against the war, it's tough to get a visa. But hey, North Korea welcomes Russians without visas. Fantastic news. I was reading about that and about the maiden flight to North Korea. Made national news everywhere. And I remember some 15 years ago, in late 2010, when Dmitry Medvedev was the president of Russia, the country was, it seemed back then, it was in the final stages of negotiating visa-free agreement with the European Union. The EU was Russia's friend back then. And North Korea back then was, North Korea. And now, 15 years later, instead of the EU, Russians can now freely fly to Pyongyang. Visa-free, obviously. Well, at least they can fly one way. I wonder if they ever sell return tickets these days. I think there's just one way. Go there. Hey, what happened to my husband? He went to Pyongyang and he's been like missing for a month. Oh, he liked it there so much he decided to stay. Many have been asking if Russian people will pay the bill of this war, and if, then when they will start. Well, this is it. They are paying the bill. And it has begun, and this is just the beginning. Another piece of news is also good. Russia is a country of traffic jams. And it can be explained. And this, not much can be done with that, at least in short time, Of course, there's going to be a strategy of building new roads, but it takes years, perhaps decades. The thing is, Russian road network is fairly poorly developed, and it's the inheritance of the USSR. Back then, in the old countries, roads were needed only for military truck movement and public transportation. Regular Russians, they just couldn't own cars. So imagine the country where very few cars, tons of trucks, and buses that move people. And obviously, the special institutions developed road infrastructure for that load. And then the USSR fell apart, and boom, Russians started buying cars. Oh, of course, there's not much space for cars. So therefore, Russia, especially Moscow, is one big traffic jam. No worries. For some Russians, things are getting better. Well, actually, they got better starting 3 days ago, July 26. 4 government officials, to be exact. Regular drivers will be fined for not giving way to motorcades, even if there's neither special paint nor sirens on these motorcade cars. The fine for violation, not letting a official motorcade car go, will reach 7.5 thousand rubles or $100. It will be forbidden to move at the same speed as the special vehicles or interfere with them. Imagine this. Any vehicle becomes a special vehicle, a motorcade, when the government official of any kind places his butt inside that car. How will people know of that car, unmarked, regular car, becomes the official motorcade car, okay? Because there's no special paint needed, no siren, how do they know? Well, guess what? The law doesn't say. And this is another proof that in Russia, all people are created equal, but some are more equal than others. Another piece of news is coming from Ramenskaya, a town near Moscow, in the Moscow province, and an interesting thing happened in Ramenskaya. A local activist, no, not political activist, but environmental activist, was fined for organizing his neighbors to clean up a local forest. Basically for getting the volunteers together. What he thought was making people to volunteer for a cleanup day was viewed as coordinating an unapproved meeting. Vladimir Bashkov, this fella right here, he is a member of the local initiative group for the protection of Boulogne Forest. He was arrested and charged with violation of the coordination of meeting. Yes, he was simply inviting people for a cleanup. let's get together and clean up local forest. And that was it. The law prohibits campaigning among citizens for the purpose of holding public events without its approval, without the approval of the authorities. And that was the statement of the federal police made. Take a closer look at this guy right here. This fella Bashkov, he is an incredible threat to Russian state. A real shark of political opposition of Russia. Looking at this guy, he must be financed by the evil West or something. Look at the advanced equipment he's using. This not just a bag, but a bag with wheels, where he must store his evil Western propaganda to get people together and clean up forest of trash, Cleaning up of trash. At first, they start cleaning the forest, picking the trash, and then they might talk to each other. They might exchange ideas. Who ask questions? No. That's gotta be squished in the beginning, Now, there are reports of many foreigners moving to Russia, to Moscow, from different parts of the world. From Australia, from Canada, even from Texas. There's a Christian family that moved to near Moscow from Austin, Texas this past May. They all claim that the West is, well, how do I put it, not free, and Russia is free. Well, let's see what happens when these foreigners would try to organize their neighbors to voluntarily clean up local forests. What would they say then? The next piece of news is addressed to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The governor of Stavropol province, Vladimir Vladimirov, at the meeting with Vladimir Putin, which the Kremlin reported on today, told the president that, I quote, construction has decreased significantly in the province, but the price of real estate, in particular apartments in the cities, is rising. And there is a severe shortage of personnel in medicine in other areas. Unquote. The meeting stands out from the usual style of official reports of the president's conversations with the governors that take place in the Kremlin. This news speaks volumes to the one who can hear, and we certainly can. Now, let me explain why. Usually, the governors are appointed by Vladimir Putin, and they answer to Vladimir Putin. They're not, they're quasi-elected, but the Kremlin appoints, okay? The governors usually give Putin good news only. They never complain. They speak of how their provinces grow. They give good numbers. They speak of how salaries of people increase, the living standards of people increase, and how cows give so much more milk than before, that type of thing. The prettier the news, the better they look, they look for Vladimir Putin. And if they complain of something wrong in their provinces, God forbid, it's their poor performance. Well, what do you think? It's Putin's fault? It's the war? It's something they do in the Moscow, in the Kremlin, geopolitics? No, Putin made mistake? No, the king's son cannot make mistakes. It is, if something goes wrong inside a certain province, or a few or all provinces, it's the bad governors. It's their fault, okay? And now, Vladimir Vladimirov gives Putin a reason to punish him. Perhaps fire him, saying things are not well in his province. What the heck is going on? This is a completely new development. I'm personally writing it down because this is important. And I tell you why Vladimirov did that. It didn't start with Vladimirov. It started with the officials, the ministers, and the head of the central bank at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum just a few weeks ago. They started openly contradicting Putin, saying things are not well in the economy. We're going down, recession. And Vladimirov is kind of like doing that, the same thing. And the other governors, they will follow, because the governor is trying to play it safe, taking precautions. He knows things are going to hell, not just in his province. Forget about his province. In the entire Russia, everything is going to hell. Every single civil industry is in the recession right now. The agriculture is going to hell. There might be shortage of food this coming winter. He knows that well. So in the future, he'll be able to blame Putin, saying, hey, I openly, publicly told him, but he didn't listen to me and he didn't help. In case Putin is gone, of course. Okay? That's what he's aiming by saying of troubles in his province. You know, these things are getting very interesting, I'm telling you. I'm keeping my eyes open. Moving on to the religious news. The archpriest Artemy Vladimirov ended last week's service with a special church bell ringing ceremony. He said that ceremony silences all drones. You know, check this out right here. That's basically what he says. Special church bell ringing that silence all the drones. You know, those things that fly on fiber. Nothing worse against them, just church bell ringing. Well, I gotta tell you, according to this clergyman, only bell ringing helps to fight drones operating with the help of fiberglass. And it happened not in a village somewhere far away, deep in Russian middle of nowhere, where people perhaps, you know, not that well educated. No, it happened in the middle of Moscow. It happened in Shabalovka, a very prestigious place to live, by the way, with very expensive real estate, right next to the Kremlin. Oh, them Russian priests. But you know what? This piece of news, I don't know how about you. Let me know. Did it surprise you? Because it didn't surprise me. Nothing in the Russian church surprises me any longer after two events. The head of the Russian church, Patriarch Kirill, said that Russian soldiers killed in the battles go straight to heaven. And Russian priests after sanctified the ballistic missile called Satana, the Satan. And church bell ringing as a measure against incoming fiber optic drones sounds, well, pretty sane compared to what we heard before. Before moving to the next news, I'd like to take this opportunity to take a sip of this wonderful English breakfast tea. I started drinking tea again, although not very strong, a bit diluted because, I was having troubles with that. I missed it. I missed the tea. So I also would like to thank you, part of Inside Russia community. Thank you for watching this video. And thank you those who come back every day, who are the pillars of Inside Russia, just the members of Inside Russia community. Those of you who watch, who like, who comment, who subscribe, who buy me coffee at buymecoffee.com, who become patrons and support through PayPal. I promise you that no matter what, I continue telling you the truth. Monetized or demonetized, in about 2 weeks, it'll be 1 year since I was demonetized. I was demonetized, but it doesn't matter. I will continue my stand against unfairness, against the war, and I will continue sharing the truth. You have my word on that. Thank you so much. And the next piece of news comes from, and it's a very important one, it's of Ramzan Kaderov. Now, listen very carefully. This is a very strange news, and people are still, everyone is still guessing, experts, regular people, still guessing what that news was about. I'm also guessing, by the way. The news was a few days ago, it appeared in Russian media, all over Russian media, that Ramzan Kaderov nearly drowned in Turkey at a resort, Mediterranean resort called, I forgot the name of the town. But anyway, it's a resort, a very small resort town, beautiful. It lays in Taurus Mountains. I've been there once. Place is just fantastic. There are tons of different hotels for different wallets, and there are some palaces, absolute palaces. Okay. Ramzan Kaderov, it was reported, decided to take a swim in the Mediterranean Sea, and he walked into the sea, and he lost consciousness, and he started drowning. Lifeguards, hotel lifeguards on duty, saw that, and they rushed, and they pulled him out, and he was rushed to a hospital, a Turkish hospital, by the lifeguards and cops and ambulance. And he was hospitalized. And that was the news. Now, the news didn't come from Russia, it came from Turkey. One of the Turkish, we traced it to a Turkish source. There was one media, it was one publication in a Turkish newspaper. And everyone picked it up, printed out, and now it's been all over the news. Now, something is very odd, and it contributes to the theory that Ramzan Kaderov is near death, that something is happening with Ramzan Kaderov. He's been trying to negotiate first of all, who the inheritance will go to, his children, and his successor. Most important, his successor. And it seems like his 17-year-old son, Adam Kaderov, is going to be his successor. So he's been trying to negotiate with different rulers of Muslim countries in the Middle East, and he made an ultimatum to Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin listened on May 8th. But this last news, now listen to me. Let's apply logic and common sense to this news. Something is very odd. First of all, imagine Ramzan Kaderov. He has so many enemies all over the world, especially in Turkey. Okay, so many people after him. Family members of those killed, they have big questions for Ramzan Kaderov, and Ramzan is guarded by dozens or perhaps dozens of real strong, real big, real mean bodyguards, personal bodyguards. Now, imagine this. Ramzan Kaderov goes to a swim. That is normal. That is possible, okay? And then he loses consciousness and he's pulled from the water by the lifeguards. Where the hell were his bodyguards? Dozens of them. They weren't looking. They weren't there. Well, I don't believe that he makes one step without bodyguards. So something is very wrong here. Now, cops, ambulance, and lifeguards rush him to a hospital. Where's his cortege? He travels with probably 100 people with him. Where's everybody? Something is very, very odd. And is this a leak that was done on purpose, or somebody just made a mistake? You know. And anyway, I'm looking at the situation with Ramzan Kaderov very closely because he's not looking well. The last time he was shown, he lost so much weight. You know, I think it was in June. Last June, they showed him once at an official event in Chechnya. And there's plenty of smoke there. And then, as we say, there's never smoke without fire. So I'm looking for the fire. So this is the news about Ramzan Kadyrov. Let me know what you think about this incident in Turkey, what he nearly drowned. Okay, how does it sound to you? Do you believe in it, or you think there's something strange about it? Thank you so much. Please let me know down in the comments. The next piece of news comes from Russian computer bots. Yeah, those nasty things that attack me, among other people, quite often. Trolls, bots, whatever, the bot farms. They used to belong to Wagner's owner, former Wagner's owner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, working for Putin, and then he was killed, and you know the story, and then no one knows what happens to the bot farms. We can guess, but it's not discussed. Now, as you might have heard if you watch my weekly updates on Russian economy, I do them every Wednesday. Please tune in. There's lots of interesting information about Russian economy. So I try to dry these updates and regular live streams of economic news and put everything into Wednesday, a special update on Russian economy. So if you watch them, you've heard that there was a very high jump in the utility tariffs on July 1st. Everything jumped in price: electricity, water, heat, trash removal, 14% on average nationwide. And in some provinces, price for cold water went up tenfold for businesses and tripled for people. It's crazy. Russians don't like that. And Russians started getting angry. They started talking about that. They started discussing that. And you know what? The state doesn't like that. And the state started taking countermeasures, started the attempts to calm people down, to switch their attention to something else. Computer bots in Russia's social network VK began to justify a sharp increase in utility tariffs. Yeah, that's right, justify. Since June 29th, every fifth comment under the news about the rise in price for utility tariffs, mentioned that it was just. In their responses, the bots called the increase in payment a normal practice and assured that Russians' salaries are also growing. In this screenshot, a few of tens of thousands of comments. When the Russian person bashes the increase of tariffs, is angry, makes an angry comment, you see, you cannot arrest him or her on charges of making a comment about tariff increase. So instead, they unleash these bots and they started commenting. They say that what you see in Russian right in front of you, things like, oh, we citizens need to pay to receive stable quality service. Oh, our payments in Russia are still so much lower than in Europe. Oh, utilities are very important. Russian state needs money to reinvest and to maintain everything and so forth. Russians do not get better services, but the prices increase. And you know what? It's not the tariffs. Do you know how it's called? Russian people started picking up the war bill. That's how it's called. And there will be many more tariff increases in the future and other increases as well. Russians have started to pay. By the way, there will be many more news like that. And if you want to keep up with other breaking news from Russia, consider becoming patron of Inside Russia, because every single day I carefully select and post 9 news that I find important, along with my commentaries and analysis. And the posts will keep you informed on everything you wanted to know about Russia, but didn't know where to ask. Now you know. And also, along with the news, I do a daily snippet. More than a news, less than a live stream. Something that catches my attention, resonates with me. I make a short video, unprepared, unrehearsed, just for patrons. So please consider becoming patron. Give it a try. The next piece of news, well, it's something that we have known all along. The only person who seemed to be unaware of that was America's President Donald Trump. I don't mean no disrespect. Putin's press secretary Dmitry Peskov once again publicly announced that Russia is not going to end the war. I quote Dmitry Peskov, "It is necessary to reach the fulfillment of the goals of the special military operation before formulating the principles of future relations with Ukraine." In simple English language, it means Russia doesn't want peace. It is so obvious now. I mean, Peskov keeps on saying, and Putin keeps on saying, and Putin has said it personally to Donald Trump, and Peskov just confirmed again to the entire world that Russia does not want peace. And it's become so obvious that even Donald Trump starts understanding it now. He just announced that he gives Russia another 2 weeks, well, 2 weeks and 1 day, 15 days, to stop the war. Or else. Well, it used to be 50 days not too long ago. Now it's 2 more weeks. Shrunk from 50 days to 15 days. I mean, this is a progress. So, this periods of threats are growing smaller and smaller. The next piece of news is breaking news. It's been discussed all over Russian media. It's happening right now, it's being discussed right now. Number one messenger in Russia, WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp. I think just anyone in Russia uses WhatsApp. In America, too, people use WhatsApp left and right. All over the world. I think it's even more popular than Telegram. So anyway, number one messenger in Russia, WhatsApp, will be banned in 3 days starting August 1st. This news source can be traced to one person, the patriotic war correspondent, so-called war correspondent, Kashevarova. I quote Kashevarova, "WhatsApp is one of the most rotten messengers, a messenger for scammers, recruiters for the armed forces of Ukraine. Everything is read and listened by the enemies. How many routes of journalists and military personnel were learned by enemy through WhatsApp? How many people died because of that? Through WhatsApp, fraudulent schemes are being built to steal funds from our population. This messenger works completely for the enemy." Unquote. I didn't know that. I thought it's been working for me since 2010 when I installed it. I was working in Uzbekistan. It was a breakthrough new way to speak. Fantastic. Now it turns out it's working for the enemy. So anyway, there has been a storm in Russian media. And some have called this news a fake. I mean, person said that, but it's a fake. WhatsApp is not going to be banned. I mean, come on, everyone is using WhatsApp, even the senators. One senator called it disinformation. Officially, publicly, in the Senate. And the other senators, they were like, we don't know about that. They were being quiet about that. So there's definitely something there. Now, is WhatsApp real threat? Is this a rotten messenger? And of course not. Fraudsters, they use it to scam Russians out of their money. Well, guess what? It's not about the messenger. It's about people. It is no secret that every Russian prison has a cyber crime gang organized out of the incarcerated people operating from the inside of prisons, so no one can get there. And these people have computers and communications and SIM cards and telephone numbers and internet. They work for prison management, earning money to the prison management, every single Russian prison. And this is a perfect example how they're boiling the frog, and they're just using this fake excuse to ban another way for Russian people to communicate, okay? They want just one messenger, and it's called Max, and it's being rolled out right now, and then they want everything else forbidden and banned. They're boiling the frog in front of our eyes. Folks, please be informed. The next piece of news is real estate. Oh, don't you like that real estate? Do you remember I started the live stream with a fella having 851 pieces of real estate, a Russian mayor of Vladivostok? Nice. That story deserves an in-depth look, and I'll do that. Now, Russian developers have showed a new product. Finally, something affordable. An affordable studio apartment that the average Russian can save up for in about 3 years. Working a regular job, 9 to 5, no overtime, nothing like that, and no mortgage needed. And this is it. Right here. I mean, it's not bad. Only 3 years? What do you think? Looks comfortable? You can sleep inside, and it's got a roof. It's like a convertible, You can put it up, down. Nice. It's like not luxury, of course, but hey, it's affordable. No mortgage needed. And the next news of more fines. More fines. A new fine is being discussed by Russian senators. Oh, please forgive me. It's probably a wrong report, because this is not a fine, but a tax. That's a new tax. So I should do it on Wednesday instead of, since I started, okay. It's a new tax, and it was proposed this week to introduce an additional tax for residents of Russian cities. And the amount is from 3 to 5% on the entire income. Additional income tax, that's what it in the other words in plain English is, 5% on top of the 15% that Russians already pay, personal income tax. According to the chairman of one of the public organizations, non-commercial organizations, Ivan Kurbakov, these extra funds should be collected from Russian people who live in cities and directed to the peripheral areas far away from the cities for their development. I quote, "This measure will not have a significant impact on the standard of living of citizens in large cities, while it would allow them to accumulate significant funds to support peripheral areas." Unquote. Additional 5% income tax, not significant? What is he smoking? And you know what? Russian senators are already discussing this initiative. And there will be a slew of new laws limiting lives of Russians. And I'll be covering them September 1st. Please stay tuned, because over the last couple of years, they created so many new laws that, new rules that would put fines on people if they break them. It's actually so many new fines that's crazy, okay? I'm wondering when Russian parliament, Russian senators come up with a law that will have Russian people fined for just getting fined. If you get in a fine, then there's a law you're getting a fine for getting a fine. How about that? Huh? That's for an idea for Russian senators. I bet they're discussing that too. Okay, before we move to the last news, I would like to ask you a favor. As usual, please let me know what you think of today's selection. Down below in a comment, write me 3 news that you like the most. Or perhaps you didn't like some news. Anyway, please write it down. And if you didn't like, if you haven't liked this live stream at this point, there's a very good time to do that right now. Looking at the numbers of the likes, 1328, 1349. Come on. 1349. Yeah, 1363. So please like it. All right. Okay, let me get to the most important news for today. I was thinking of making Kadyrov's adventure in Turkey, perhaps the headliner, or this one. And I think this one is more important. Kadyrov is on the way out. I mean, everyone knows that. Everyone's been talking about that. It's just a matter of when. The question is when. And this one is... In the USSR, we had the Pioneers, the youth organization. Now Russian kids have the movement of the first. Движение первых. Now, at first, I will show you what is happening in the province of Krasnoyarsk right now. A youth palace for Putin's pioneers will be built in Krasnoyarsk for more than 5 billion rubles. And you can see it right in the middle, right here. Very nice computer-generated image. Although it's a real photo, and if you look top right and top bottom right, you will see real rundown apartment blocks in Krasnoyarsk, okay? So instead of patching up those buildings, rebuilding them somehow, making lives of people who live there better, Putin has ordered to build this gargantuan facility in the middle. A commercial tender has been announced in Krasnoyarsk province for the construction of a youth palace within the framework of the Square of the First project. The contract value exceeds 5 billion rubles. That's about $70 million dollars. According to the project, the complex will consist of 2 buildings with a total area of about 30,000 square meters or 300 square feet. The building is planned to house a concert hall, an exhibition gallery, training center, a laboratory, special training ground, as well as rooms for different children clubs and sections and sports clubs, sports sections in various fields. The facility is scheduled to be commissioned in October of 2028. Yeah, right. Yeah, they will commission it. Yeah, I'm ready to make a bet that it will not be built, and certainly will not be built by October 2028, because I know how Russians construct, okay? Mikhail Katyukov, the governor of Krasnoyarsk province, reported on the construction of the palace to President Vladimir Putin in March at the meeting of supervisory board of the movement of the first organization. And this is Krasnoyarsk, where they are firing half of the medical doctors and medical personnel right now. For one simple reason, there is no money in the local budget to pay their salaries. So they call it optimization. They're optimizing province's healthcare by firing half of medical personnel. Now, the pioneers, I heard of this movement, the movement of the first, движение первых. But then it didn't connect me that it is a direct continuation of the pioneers from my childhood. this time I was slow. I'm sorry. Okay, but this is even the name, the movement of the first suggests that the pioneers are the first, you know. So first, the pioneers, the pioneers, all right? I started hearing of this movement of the first more and more in the last news and the last weeks in the news all over. And it's like, you know, it starts like a light bulb starts flashing more and more and more. And it means something because Russian propaganda is engineered. It never reports anything without the reason. All of a sudden, it started reporting more on this youth movement. And this is what Putin is trying to do. He's trying to create this class of new young patriots through this movement of the first, through building youth palaces like that, probably not just in Krasnoyarsk, through financing youth programs, through indoctrinating them in schools and kindergartens. Okay? Putin is banking on the youth because I think that he has no one to bank on any longer. And it happened in the future in other countries. In Germany, in the mid-40s, there was a youth movement. In the SSR, we had pioneers, and I was one. You know, I was indoctrinated in the first grade. I was, you know, must have been 7 or even 6 years old. And I remember that day when they accepted me to this brotherhood of young communists, children communists, the pioneers. And by the way, the rate of acceptance was 100%. Everyone had to be a pioneer. You just could not avoid it in anyhow. But they made it so glamorous, so glorious, you know. So glamorous is not the right word, but they made it look so cool. I was proud to become a pioneer. I had this little sign, Lenin, on my, you know, right here on my heart. So I remember that. But guess what? There were numerous palaces of youth of the pioneers, Dvorets Pionierov. I actually even attended one. There was a military club called the Club of the Sailors. I was a young sailor for about a year or something like that. We studied, you know, studied different, you know, everything about sailing and the ships and military ships and things like that, you know. So anyway, guess what? It didn't help the USSR. It fell apart. Russian pioneers did not help to... We didn't do anything. We were watching the USSR falling apart, and we were happy about that. And you know what? I doubt that the youth organization in Germany helped in anyhow in 1944 or 1945. And you know what? I doubt that the youth organization will help Vladimir Putin. Why? Well, I gotta give them a credit. They have been doing a marvelous job indoctrinating and brainwashing young Russians. We are seeing the rise of Putin's young patriots. Again, I don't think that's gonna help him. And this was my message for today. Thank you so much. This is the news report that I give you every day. I had to move it from Friday to Monday because I had an incredibly busy weekend. I was preparing for the interviews. And by the way, right now, there's an interview coming out at Silicon Curtain. I'm going to make a community post about that. We discussed a lot of issues about Russia with Jonathan Fink. Check it out. Also, we had a live stream, regular Monday live stream called Meet Your New Neighbor about future immigrants to the USA. We had a doctor and an engineer, scientist. We had a fantastic conversation before. And, a few other things. Thank you so very much. I invite everyone to join the live stream chat. We have about 20 minutes, 19 minutes, and I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Now it's going to be fantastic to see everyone in a live stream chat. Thank you for coming, friends. Let me turn it on, and while I'm doing it, I'd like to remind you that Inside Russia community is the best community on internet, and that is great contribution from the moderation team. The best moderators on the internet, they are Lorna, I call her Super Lorna these days, Mammy K, Super Mammy K these days, Bob S, Super Bob S, Super Amir, and Super Harry. So, super people, super mods. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching my back. And everyone, just 2 rules for the live stream chat. If you have for the first time, no discussion of US politics. We don't do that. That's not the right place. I don't want that. And just be nice to everyone. No insults, no foul language. Just be nice and pleasant. This is a pleasant community after all. Thank you. And if you want me to see your question or comment easier, please put it in all caps and put Inside Russia after that sign. It highlights the comment or question, and that way I see it easier. Therefore, I answer it. There are so many. And somehow I miss your comment. Keep on posting. It's not because I ignore you. It's because there are so many. And sometimes I miss the comments and don't answer all of them. Just share quality. Share quantity. I'm sorry. I've been speaking for almost 3 years today. This is my 3rd hour. So please forgive me mistakes if I misspeaks if I have any. And I'm not seeing my chat, by the way. What is going on? Oh yeah, found it. By the way, I'm putting it into a pop-up window, so I see it easier. Thank you. Super Harry, Super Lorna, Super Bob, Super Mammy, howdy friends, and the usual suspects, the pillars of Inside Russia, and some of you, I don't even know how, you like off categories. For example, Jess Terry, Pamela, you're like semi-gods of Inside Russia. In a good way, no disrespect to the god. Heaven's Blade Trollmaster, howdy. So how those trolls that you're mastering? Patscally, Stefan, Woody, Leitmotif from Bowie, Maryland, Bakerstock, Jodes, Tracy, Tom W, good to see you, Scott, Hyranis, doctors and engineers, huh? Well, we had 2 guests at today's live stream 3 hours earlier. A doctor, pediatrist, children's doctor, and computer scientist. He designs like new metals and some kind of nano things, nano trubki, nano pipes, small nano, tiny ones. And then they are both trying to get to the USA to find a new home there, and we're trying to assist their journey. So yes, Thomas K, Vilnius, thank you so much for coming, sending my love to Vilnius. Drone breached our airspace this morning, got woken up by the sound of a drone flying. Holy moly, I read about that in the news just a few hours ago. It came from Belarus, I think. So please stay strong and stay safe. Crazy, good evening. Internet person, howdy. Mr. Kaliskin from the Windy City, long time no see. Sam the Legend K, one of the best members of Inside Russia community, but never take his dating advice. Dale, good information as always. Thank you so much. John Richards from Colorado, Angela McNaught, Kim M, Kermo, howdy from Finland, sending my love to Finland. Must be nice right now. It's the best time. July, late July, warm, long days, short nights. Uwe Loss, good Abend, howdy. D. Young, howdy. Ho, so, I don't know. I still don't know how to pronounce it right. Have you heard anything about the drone that flew into Lithuania? Well, we just, was it Lithuania? Vilnius, okay. So, Russian drone. It came from Belarus, that's all I know. I don't know anymore. Well, we have a person here who was woken up by that drone. That's a small world, you know. Ronnie, howdy. Pinda the Peanut. Oh, Golden Griffon. Long time no see. How are you? How you feeling? One of the pillars of Inside Russia. You were there right from the beginning. Fantastic to see you. Three kilos of figs today. Good, Pinda. Send me some. Kharkiv will hold, not fold. Kharkiv will hold. Hello, thank you for your discussion the state of Russian legal system. I would like to make a live stream, dedicated live stream for that. So please stay tuned and please stay strong and stay tall. Howdy from Australia, you're good man. Rodders, thank you so much. Sending my love to Down Under. Electrics. Oh. Now I'll just jump to the highlighted messages. Robert Harris, Luigi De Rossi, howdy friends. Raimondas, Russian companies are making Russian people unemployed. Can Russia increase its military personnel count because of this? Probably not, because Russian state has exhausted its people supply. Those who wanted to sign up and trade their souls for money, they have done so. Right now, the reports are coming from the front lines that very few people are coming in as voluntarily recruits. Now, Putin is facing a big dilemma, and I've talked about that. He is forced to make a decision in September or in October. Decision to speed up the mobilization. But most likely those people who are getting laid off, they will not go fighting. Wayne Wallace, howdy. Could you comment sometimes on the state of Russian railroads? Ukraine has been hitting it quite hard. I know quite well, because Ukraine was hitting it in Rostov. You know what? That's a good idea. Let me write it down. Because there's a very specific system of railroads in Russia, and then I will explain you where they're hitting and why they're putting such a havoc. Railroads. Thank you. Boston, Massachusetts. Mr. Boston, howdy. It's a fantastic city, I've been quite a few times to Boston. Especially the central part, Super Mammy K, howdy. Where is she, by the way? I thought she joined. Oh, anyway, she's still super. Lucas, well, look, thank you so very much. You come in, you comment, you watch, and I could be wrong, but I think it's you. You are from Switzerland, right? You who sometimes help me with financially, so write email and all of that. So I really, really appreciate. Thank you very much. Terry, doesn't Kadyrov use a pool noodle? Why would he want to be at a Turkish hospital? I thought that the healthcare in Russia was amazing. Well, it is amazing for him. In the Grozny, he has like an entire hospital to himself. Best doctors, they come from different places. The rumors have it from Saudi Arabia, from Dubai. The best equipment. So he definitely didn't go to Turkey for medicine. Okay, if he's really in Turkey and if he's really nearly drowned, that's got to be a different reason. Martin Lundström, have any similar experience like Russian children have today, vacationing on Crimea? I'm not sure what you mean. Crimea? Please specify your question. Hyranus was a bit of European joke, but awesome to hear. Okay, thank you. Harvey Sutcliffe, howdy. Thank you so much for coming in and participating in the live stream chat. Kev Sullivan, Konstantin from Omaha, other dumpster Dutches, Madin in North Korea. Those not Dutches in North Korea. If you mean these things right here, my friend, these are like North Korean regular apartments. And that's not just for one person, that's for entire family. And that's considered luxury. Probably people wait for years to get them. So they're not dumpster Dutches. Don't call them. You're like insulting this marvelous pieces of real estate. You know, they're not dumpster Dutches. They're well, the residences. They're people's homes in North Korea. AJ Raffles, thank you so much. Larry Barth, good to see you. Real Larry Barth from Canada. Jorge from Canary Islands in Spain. On my bucket list, I wish I could go there one day. John Richards, children doctor is pediatrician. Thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying. That's what she is. Elsha, good to see you. How do people who got fired from their jobs manage financially? Not well. Not well. They're trying to get other jobs. That creates more competition for remaining jobs. Therefore, the employers can drive the salaries down. And it's becoming harder to get a good job these days, you know. Let me tell you, it isn't like 2023 where this unemployment was under 2%, and most of Russians, like not most, but a lot of Russians left, and there were jobs available left and right. No, 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 no. Things are different now. Things are heating up. It is the first time we did a news update with chat. Yes, but it's Bob. I figured it's Monday. It's like a regular long live stream, you know, and we're gonna finish in 5 minutes at the regular time. Karolis, today in Lithuania we had an incident where a drone flew over Vilnius. Did this news reach you? We had someone earlier commenting that the drone woke him up this morning. So, yes, the news was in the Russian media, and the news said didn't say much. It said that the drone came from Belarus. That's all. My take on this, I don't know what to. I have to investigate further. I have to think. I've been busy with. I had 3 live streams today, and an interview is coming up. It's probably one of the busiest days for me on YouTube right now, this Monday, because this is just crazy. So this particular news, I don't know much about that. Baronix, you mentioned a new youth movement. Well, I linked it to Germany in the 40s. I didn't link it to the German's leader. How does this connect to Nashi? Nashi was a failure. It was the first attempt to create youth movement, and basically the guy who created it was stealing money left and right, and now he gives interviews saying that he didn't care about Nashi, all he cared about money, okay? And he got lots of money stolen, and now he lives in Germany, in Bavaria, by the way. The guy who created Nashi and who was heading Nashi was the federal minister, okay? And by the way, the ideological founder of Nashi, I'm going to do a live stream on him in this coming week. I'm going to call this series Architects of Putin's Russia. Okay, I did the first live stream. It was kind of bad sound, so I want to do it again. About Gleb Pavlovsky, who came up with the idea of the vertical of power. And then the second guy, Surkov, he was the actually person behind many reforms of Russia that have brought it to 2022, including creating Nashi. So Putin Youth, well, it doesn't exist. It was not effective because the guy in charge was stealing money. And basically, that's what he's saying now. Ronnie, heard they take your organs in Tashkent hospitals. Persons went in for something and trivial and body was robbed of organs. I haven't heard of that. That's fake news. I've been to many hospitals. No, that's BS. Denise Abbott, I'm having not a good health. Thank you for being in your prayers. Well, thank you, Denise, for coming, and we'll keep on praying. I'm okay now, but with my health, I have MS and plus more. Keep on praying. Sam the Legend K, Konstantin needs some vodka. He is Russian, LOL. That's what I used to say when I lived in Old Orchard Beach. You should have seen me about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I drank a lot every day in the summertime, And I used to tell people, I'm Russian. I have vodka in my veins instead of blood. And everyone loved it, and they were laughing, and well, I guess I'm not Russian any longer. I don't drink vodka, or perhaps I've become defective Russian, Brigitte from Germany, howdy. Hi G, you looking good, thank you, nice haircut. Trying, thank you. Who's responsible for printing rubles? Central Bank. Watch my Wednesday news economy report. So I'm going to be talking about that. The central bank. Well, the central bank gives order, and the treasury, the coin treasury, that's called, that they're printing. Now the central bank prints digital rubles, creates them out of thin air. They print trillion every week. Okay, friends, this is time to wrap it up. GG Mac, I heard Kadyrov went to an American hospital. What's up with that? I don't believe that. Give me the source where you read it. Robert Harris, what will Russians eat when potatoes and eggs run out? Oh, I guess they'll go to church and they will eat Russian church, Holy Spirit, something like that. The priests will come up with something, I'm pretty sure. Time is up, says Super Lorna. And you gotta listen to Lorna. So, friends, this is my prayers list. I invite everyone to join me in prayer. Thank you so very much. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for this day that you've given us. Thank you for the food you've placed on our tables and roofs you've given over our heads. Thank you for the loved ones that surround us. Thank you for our families, and please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Please give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up, they will never fight in any war, and they will make this world a better place. And for now, please keep our children healthy and safe. Dear Lord, I am asking for Ukraine. Please help stop the bloodshed. Help every single Ukrainian who has been affected. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Reach out and touch the hearts of everyone who is responsible for the tragedy and who can make decision to stop. Fill their hearts with love and wake them up from their lethargic sleep, so they understand they're still human beings and there's still some love in their hearts, and they will make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Dear Lord, help my country, Russia. Assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael in shining armors, and send this heavenly army of yours down to this earth to get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Please send your strongest angels to this earth to help good Russian people to run their country so it becomes peaceful, respecting and loving. Please help everyone who is traveling, send them safe travels. Everyone who is in danger, send them safety. And everyone who is seeking for asylum, send good people their way. Please help single mothers and fathers who are struggling, trying to make ends meet, raising their children. Send help. And help those who are helping Ukrainians, and help those Ukrainians who are currently under attacks of Russian weapon. Please send everyone safety. Dear Lord, please help everyone who is currently in need. The sick, the addicted, the cold, the hungry, the homeless, the jobless, the depressed, the ones who are crying, the ones who are betrayed, the ones who are feeling alone in this world, the ones who are going through divorce, the ones who cannot see their children as much as they want to, the ones who are losing their faith. Please reach out and touch the heart of and help to everyone who is in need. Thank you very much for allowing us to come together and pray. Thank you for 3,100 people praying along with me or simply watching us pray. Please answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. For those who are praying and those who are just watching us pray. And dear Lord, I have a prayers list of people who need your help and asking for your help, and I'm asking for them. They are Rod, who is having upcoming surgery soon and hip replacement. Please help, comfort, and send strength to go through the surgery successfully. Please help Victor Garishin, Oli Yun, Lee and Brenda, Greg. Please send recovery and send his family strength and him good health. Daniela From and her family. Janice, Rose Halbert Bronicky, Karsten, Teresa D, Ron Bazoid, Anne, Hannah, Jeffrey S, Katharina, Mark, Tom W, J.R. McKim, Gabing with Gary, Lisa, Harry, Terry, John, Linda, Paul W., Denise, Jason Carney, Susie Mailer, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Darla, George, Ruberty, Pamela, Meta Spencer, David Porter, his family, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi right now, Life, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkindom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra Olson, Joseph, Millie, Philip, Eileen, Highwayman, Victor, Derek Martinez, Denise Abbott, Jeff Gibson, Janice Burgess, and Renate. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you very much for coming. It's my honor to have you here, just watching, or double honor if you're part of Inside Russia community and keep on coming back and praying with me. Thank you so very much. It's going to be a tough week. I'm going to be traveling a lot. I'm traveling tomorrow. Please keep me in your prayers. Thank you. I will go online tomorrow. Perhaps stay tuned. It depends on how soon I fly. I'm going to Israel. I have a personal errand, a personal event there to attend. And I'll be trying to get to the West Bank, just, to check out what's going on there. I'll definitely go to Jerusalem, to the holy places. So it's going to be a week full of traveling. So please keep up with community posts. I will be making announcements there, and I'll be placing a lot of photographs and updates in Patreon chat. You can do that. You can place photos. And by the way, I'm going to organize a meetup in Israel. That's coming up sometimes in the 5 or 6 days. So if you're in Israel, most likely it's going to be Tel Aviv. You're welcome to join us. So friends, thank you very much. You're awesome and you rock. And as usual, I would like to ask you to do me a big favor to say out loud, along with me, as loud as you can, the following: Carthago delenda est.